Known for speaking his mind on issues that strike a real chord. He agreed to speak to Newsnight last night as he wanted to share his thoughts on the death of George Floyd, the protests on our streets and the systemic changes that football needs to see to rid the game of racism. I began by asking him for his response to the demonstrations seen across Britain and the US.
Yeah, it's been hard to take in over the week or so. It's quite tragic what's happened to him. I just want to say first and foremost, I want to send my condolences to George Floyd's family. To see any human treated in that way, it's unacceptable. It's just really sad to see something like that sparked, debates now in our country, for it to happen over there. This is things that's been happening in our country for the last God knows how long. Police brutality. There's been 15 plus shootings in the last 30 years from police in this country, and none have resulted in any police officers being convicted or charged. So it's one of those where it's a touching subject, but it's not anything new to us, even in this country.
Did it make you want to join the protests here?
It's a great starting point, to start protesting, to get your voice be heard, because this is how people are getting their voices heard. But at the same time, people in positions which I'm lucky enough to be in, this is a time to, speak on these subjects, speak on, injustice especially in my field. I think there's something like 500 players in the Premier League. Further them are black, and we have no representation of us in, the hierarchy. No representations of us, in coaching staffs. There's not a lot of faces that we can, relate to and, have conversations with. And I do think, with these protests that are going on, it's all well and good, just talking. But it's time that we need to have conversations to be able to spark debates, and not just debates, because we've done a lot of talking, to actually start, implementing change.
What's the one single thing you'd say has to change and could change really easily that would send the clearest message?
As I always refer back to the footballing, the coaching staffs that you see around football clubs, I'll give a perfect one. There's Steven Gerrard, your Frank Lampards, you have your Sol Campbells, and you have your, Ashley Coles. All had, great careers, all played for England. They've all respectfully done their, coaching badges, to coach at the highest level. And the two that haven't been given the right opportunities are, the two black former players.
You once said that there's never a time in your life in England that you've received racism outside of football. Is that still true?
Growing up in London, I come from an estate where, all I do see is, black people or, people from different, minority backgrounds. You don't really see different cultures until you venture out, or I should say, don't see white people as much as you probably would do if I went up to Liverpool. So, I wasn't really exposed to certain things, and, moving up north kind of changed that. And that's when I started to, experience these racist comments.
I wonder whether you think things are getting better or have got worse than when you were a young kid or when you were coming of age.
The country on a whole is, growing and getting better, communicating with each other. We need to continue to talk, continue to have these debates, and, hopefully try to find the right solutions, which the right solutions are, if we're going to have, police, that commit such crimes, there should be, people from black backgrounds that are higher up in the police force and the police departments to be able to have a say on, their punishment.
And when it's on the pitch, do you think racism is being dealt with now in a way that stops it happening again?
Racism isn't just, calling someone black or calling someone white. I'll give you the perfect example. I'm from northwest London. I grew up seeing my mum struggle. I grew up seeing my, mum's mum struggle. Everyone lives on the same estate as me. They're all black. And it's not, at that moment in time, you see your mum struggling, you see your grandma struggling, and you have no hope within yourself. You have no hope to feel, I can do better than what they have achieved in life. So it kind of gives us, as I said, it's not just about color, black or white. It's about the system that we're placed in. You know, we're given a lesser chance to succeed. If I don't see my mom succeed, what am I most likely to do? I'm most likely to, you know, give up all hope. But luckily for me, I was one of the lucky ones to, you know, get out of that system. And, you know, when I do go back into those areas now and see some of my friends that do live there, it gives me an eye opener to actually what sort of prison myself that used to live in. You're in there, and at the time you don't actually know that you're trapped until you get out. And I can see this with a lot of the youths that are in these estates and not given the same opportunity and chances and privilege as some other people in the country.
We've seen, for example, photos of players taking the knee, very visible sign. In America, they've done that ahead of live games. Is that something that you'd like to see here in a game?
You know, taking a knee, I understand, as again, it's another form of protesting. And as I say, I want change, you know. The change is being able to speak to, you know, people in, you know, Parliament, people at the hierarchy at my football club, not just my football club, the football clubs across the country, people at the national team with England, you know, to implement change and give, you know, equal chances to, you know, black coaches, and it's not just coaches, but people in, you know, in their respective fields, the right opportunity. You know, I feel like that's what's lacking here. It's not just taking a knee. It's about, you know, giving people the chance and they deserve.
We heard from the Home Secretary today, and she was talking about the protests on the street, and she said they should stop and not go ahead because they're illegal. They clearly contradict all social distancing regulation. I wonder what your message would be to her, and whether you think which should come first right now.
I know this might sound a little bit cheesy, but you know, the only, you know, disease right now is the racism that we're fighting. I think this right now, this is the most important thing at this moment in time, because you know, this is something that's been happening for years and years, and you know, just like the pandemic, we want to find a solution to stop it. And at the same time, this is what all these protesters are doing. They're trying to find, you know, a solution and a way to stop the injustice that they're seeing, and they're fighting for their cause. And I think this is, you know, as long as they're doing it peacefully and, you know, safely, and not, you know, hurting anybody or any store or breaking into any stores, I think, you know, they continue to protest in this peaceful way.
Did it worry you when you saw some of the violent elements in the protests?
Yeah, you know, that's the last thing you want to see. You don't want to see anybody hurt in the process of this. You know, people are, you know, protesting because they're tired. They're tired of, you know, what they're seeing, and the people just want change. And this is exactly why they're out on the streets. But I would say this, to, you know, to be sure, is to be safe on the streets, and, you know, keep doing what you're doing.
Did you? Am I right in thinking you lost family members to coronavirus?
Yeah, I've lost one family member and a close family friend. Yes.
And do you feel that enough has been done to highlight the inequalities of the way this disease has hit people?
No, I don't feel like it's been explained. I don't feel like it's, you know, why is it more likely that someone from a black background or a, you know, a BAME background is more likely to, you know, suffering from this disease. I feel like there should be more of an explanation on this, and, you know, I don't think our health and our risk is, you know, taken seriously. For example, me going back into football now, with this risk, I'm fine, you know, going back, because at this moment in time, you know, the club and, you know, the Premier League have, you know, been so, you know, done things with so much thought and carefulness. So I have no worries on that aspect. But, you know, in the other walks of life, you know, people want to know if they're going to go back into their workplace, if they're going to be safe.
You must have thought quite hard about speaking out on this. I know John Boyega, the actor, said, "I don't know if I'll have a career after this," when he was speaking at the protest. Does the job become much harder when you speak out?
I don't really think about my job when things like this happen. You know, I think about what is right. And at this moment in time, you know, there's only so much people can take. There's only so much, you know, communities and, you know, other backgrounds can take, especially black people. You know, it's been going on for hundreds of years, and, you know, people are tired. People are, are ready for change, and we need to actually implement change and highlight the places that do need changes. But this is something that I myself, you know, will continue to do, and spark these debates, and, you know, get people in my industry, you know, looking at themselves and thinking, you know, what they can do to, you know, give people an equal chance in this country.
When will you know that this movement has been successful?
When, you know, I can have someone, you know, from a black background for me to be able to go to in the FA with, you know, a problem I have, you know, within the club. You know, these will be the times that I know that, you know, change is happening, and not just in my field, you know, also in Parliament. You know, there's 600 or something MPs in Parliament, and only 21 of them are black. So this just shows, you know, how far behind we are, and you know, once we do see those numbers shifting, that's when I'll be happy, and the people will be happy.
Raheem Sterling, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Raheem Sterling.